Okay, you know how you can read a book or books and they become part of a series or a movie or series, and things seem worse in the books than in the movies or series. Our mind does, can. I'm a little crazy there. But something like that, they'll say that somebody has some health condition and they make it sound in a book so, like, it's so really bad or something. And it turns out to be, in the movie or the series, not so much. You know, like, there are some of them that I used to read, like Virgin Rivers. It's on, I get it on Netflix. And Sweet Magnolia on Netflix. And there's another one, but I couldn't get into that. The actress, the main actress and the main male, well, one of the main male actors, they just irritated me. I never was one much on watching movies or series, TV, nothing, until more recent years, really since 2020. A little bit before then, and I catch myself finding that I'm doing it more often these days because of my own health condition. And then that's one of the reasons why I wanted to say this, because to me, I'm feeling like, okay, it's not all that bad. You know, it's just, it takes time to get to this point or that point. And then what's going to come up next, you know, and that has happened several times now. Like in 2023, I had a weird weight gain all of a sudden. And at the end of it, it was like 48 pounds. Oh my gosh. You know, on my frame. Oh, I mean, I'm a tall woman, and I'm not, you know, narrow, but still, you know, back then I was, 59 or 60 years old, and now I'm soon will be 63 soon, and since then, you know, I lost some weight. They put me on a medication, a water pill, diuretic, and I lost a little bit of weight, and then I started taking a medication for my rare health condition that I've had since I was a child, and it itself has never been medicated because there wasn't any medication. They didn't tell me that there was one. It came out about 14 years ago, something like that, and that's the one I got on. Oh my body did it was not going to do like other people who have this rare health condition I'm leaving out. What supposedly it does to everybody else, it did the opposite to me. And I wound up gaining, like I said, I had lost some of it, and I wound up gaining about 25 pounds. Okay. And I had to get off that. It's been going down 1 pound a day, about 1 pound a day. And, I mean, but I was miserable. That's how I would say that I felt miserable, but at the same time, it's like, not really. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of misery a person can feel that is much worse than what I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that would be like I was being very dramatic to say that I was miserable. And it would sound more like the book version than the actual version. You know what I'm saying? And it could be that I just have a good overall attitude. I'm a cheerful person. You know, that I'm one of those no sense in crying over spilt milk. It is what it is. You know, reality, this is how it is. And, you know, deal with it and move on. And that's how I am. I don't wallow. Now, I can't say ever. I have done the self-pity party. I've wallowed before in my life, of course. You know, nobody's perfect. And, but no, I don't do that very often. And when I do, I don't stay there very long. No. I'm not a dramatic person. I mean, dramatic things happen. If I talk about people who are dramatic, it sounds very dramatic. And, but myself, no. You know, it's the people who are around me maybe I'm exhausted from that, from the people who've been around me since I was a child. You know, different people, it's just like I attract them or not attract them. I'm not attracted to them. It just happens to be. It just happens to be that's what's there. You know, and I'm a social behavioral scientist, so I've done all the thing of trying to think, is it me, is it them, is it what am I doing, and all this stuff. No, I'm going to say that there was people there. There's people who are there, period. You know, a lot of people want to blame the victim and say, oh, you're attracting them by doing this and that. And there could be some people who are doing that, but it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, period. It is not a one-size-fits-all. And I am a person to say one size doesn't fit all. Did you hear my story right now? Rare health condition, very rare. Very rare. I mean, unbelievably rare. And then the medication is supposed to help it does the opposite? Come on now. Sometimes you gotta laugh or go crazy, like I used to say since I was young. You know, laugh or go crazy. Because some of it is like that. You know, oh, the doctor gives me a medication and it makes it worse instead of better. Wow. But anyway, then about a month ago, I guess it was maybe just a few days over a month ago, the city came out and they worked on the sidewalks, and Adam got some dirt and two things of dirt, of the dirt that they had, and he had some guys come out and his lawns people, and he paid them extra, and they put it on the back wall fence where it kind of washes off, you know, and so they put it out there. It was over a few days' time, that part, and you know, and the sidewalk thing. Well, I got pneumonia. I used to get pneumonia when I was younger, but I basically have forgotten that I used to get pneumonia. You know, it's been so long. And it wasn't the same way. It didn't feel the same as when I was younger. It could be that I've forgotten about it, but it was walking pneumonia. Well, we could say that. I mean, I don't know what's the difference between pneumonia and walking pneumonia, and not the song version of rockin' pneumonia. What was the song? Rocking Pneumonia and Boogie Woogie Blues, something like that. I don't know. But it was a long time ago too. But because I really wasn't able to walk much. I mean, I have such bad shortness of breath. I mean, when all told, I think it was around 70 pounds since 2023 that I was carrying around with me, on me, that I hadn't had before. Well, see, that's kind of hard to say too, because I had lost some weight and then gained it. So I don't know how to say it. That's a lot of weight though. Oh my goodness, it was so horrible. It's like, you know, they call them, I just saw it on a TV show, an old series, Veronica Mars, and they were talking, they called it I think a fat body suit, something like that. But it was, and I kept thinking of it myself, thinking, I would call it a fat, I mean not a fat, I don't like the word fat, that's judgmental. That's meant to harm somebody, calling it fat. But a bodysuit that was pretty heavy, you know. This woman here is 62, almost 63 years old, is carrying it around, and I must be a really strong person. See, I'm the glass half full person, not the glass half empty. You know, it's you look at it in a different way. I got to be one really strong person that I was doing that, but it was hurting. Sometimes I would stand up at the worst part of it, and I'm sitting on the bed and I stand up, and my body would have a feeling, and I would bend, you know, it would bend me over, and what's the term for that? make me my top bend, you know, and because it was so much weight to try to carry around, and so heavy, and yeah, man, it was bad. And then I wouldn't be able to stand up straight. My back was hurting for a few days at the worst part of it, and I have to go to the restroom, and I'm taking 2 diuretics now, plus 2 that are in the blood pressure medication. So that's 4 altogether. 4. Man. So anyway, so I have to go to the restroom. The restroom's on the other side of the house. On the other side of this room, another room, then a hallway. Yeah, and it's not like just a few steps. It's a lot. Plus, then there's the dogs in the between, you know, trying to get away from them. And it wasn't such an ordeal because the shortness of breath. Well, they had given me an inhaler because I went to the hospital, and the hospital gave me an inhaler. Actually, I think they may have given that to me last year, and I just never used it. I've had it when I was younger. A doctor gave me one, and I never used it. But this time it kind of started making sense, and I started using it, and I found that I needed it more often than I would think. It was a rescue inhaler, and it's not one to do every day or whatever. I mean, I did, but I did under doctor's supervision, and they told me to do it, you know, as directed, and I did it as directed. Well, I didn't actually 100% do it as directed because it's supposed to be 2 puffs, and I would do 1. And I don't know why. I mean, with pneumonia, my brain was not there. When I'm ill, my brain is not there. I mean, I have a genius IQ, and when I'm ill, I don't even know what you would call that because my brain is not there. It's like I'm living in a la-la land, and, you know, surreal, and brain fog and all this stuff going all together. Yeah, and the most I could do was things like watch TV. Okay, watch TV. And I wound up watching some other series, bits of other series, but mainly I'm in the 3rd one. Let's see, what was it? One of them is really good. It's called Envious, and it's on Netflix, and it's dubbed. I don't know all the terminology, but dubbed voice over, is that what it is? They did a great job. Oh my goodness, a great job. It's, to me, like narcissistic histrionic blend of behaviors. That's not a diagnosis, but I know people who were diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and it made me think of them. So, yeah. You know, they diagnosed by a professional, a real professional. Not just someone who thinks they are. But anyway, and then there's, what was the next one? That one was more of a, well, the one I'm on now, I just mentioned it, was Veronica Mars, and it's a teen show, you know, teenagers in college, and the reason I watched it was because it kept coming up on Netflix. It kept coming up. I said, well, might as well watch it. It just keeps showing up. And watch it and get it over with. Maybe it won't show up all the time. Because I'm not into teen. I mean, it's been a long time since I was a teenager. You know, or been around teenagers for a really long time. And it's just not my kind of thing. Although the first one I think I ever did do like marathon watching, you know, the series on an app and all, streaming, whatever they're going to call it now, was Pretty Little Liars. Adam was on in Florida, and we were in Texas, and he was in Florida, and I was by myself, and I just laid around watching the TV. This was many years ago, and watching that show, and I remember I dropped my phone. I was on the sofa, and I dropped my phone and busted my nose, the brim, is it brim or whatever, the top part, and it was like, made it really, bruised it bad right there. It was a heavy phone. But anyway, that's what I remember. That's why I remember it, because that's what I was watching. But other than that, no, it was one other one, but it was a whole town, mainly about the whole town, and the adults and the teenagers, like that. But this one, Veronica Mars, yeah, I haven't finished. I'm on the 3rd out of 4 seasons, and then they have a movie. I think there's a spin-off too, but I think they're on Hulu, and I don't have Hulu anymore. So, let's see, what was the other one? Because I watched little bits of some I've seen before, so that's why, I don't know, I'll think about it later and do it. I've watched a few, like I said, there's some parts when I was ill like this, this I'm good now. I'm much, much, much better. I can walk and not have to stop every about 10 feet. Seriously, I was walking about in the house. I would have to walk about 10 feet and stop. Like from here, the room I'm in right now, I'd have to walk to the kitchen. It was about 10 to 15 feet, and I'd have to lean on the island until I could catch my breath. Okay, and I can only use the inhaler a certain amount of times. So still with that, I was standing there, catch my breath, then walk another 10 feet. That's usually to the restroom, 10 to 15 feet. Then from there, I'd go into the master bedroom, about another 10 to 15 feet. And then start the whole thing back over just to get back here. This is my sick room, as I call it. But, yeah, it used to be an office, and now the office is across the hall. And I made this into a bedroom, TV room, combination room. So, anyway, so that's how I was having to do. Now I can make it all the way over there, without having to stop. And also, really weird thing was I couldn't stand up in the shower. And let me tell you, when you can't stand up in the shower, in our bathtub downstairs, it's a garden bathtub, it needs a pipe replaced, and otherwise it's, I don't know, it's rust or something, I don't know. It makes some orange stuff, and it hasn't been used in many years, and I can't go upstairs. We have 2 baths upstairs, bathtubs and bathrooms, but I can't walk upstairs because shortness of breath, pneumonia. And so we have the shower downstairs now because the garden bathtub needs that replacement. And the shower to it is like a little box. It's glass. It's all glass, and mainly glass. And it's nice looking, but it's narrow, and I'd get in there and I'd get real dizzy at first, and then I'd start having like a panic attack, but it wasn't a panic attack. I know what panic attacks are and how they feel. I used to have them when I was younger. And no, not a panic attack, but it felt like it. My heart would start beating. Well, my breathing would, like that. I can't breathe. I get out. And I'd get out of the shower and sit down. I had to rig something up in there to sit down. Or I'd lean on the countertop, and just, try to catch my breath. And that I had to catch my breath before I could go, right into the next room, which is all part of the master bedroom, to sit down there. You know, it was just so weird. And in the meanwhile, I saw this second doctor. And I saw two doctors during this. And Adam had to get wheelchairs at both places to be able to get me in there, because I couldn't walk. I mean, I could walk. You know, we left me at the door at one of them, and then he came up. He says, let's just walk to the elevator." And I got up to the elevator, which was just, you know, inside. We got up to the elevator, but I was holding on to him. I wasn't just leaning on him. I had his arm, and I was holding on to his arm like you wouldn't believe. And we got me upstairs, and he went and got the wheelchair so I could go take blood tests up there and then see the doctor. I said, you know, we went to the place to do the blood test, and I said, wouldn't it be better if we saw the doctor first? I mean, that's what I thought. And the woman said, yeah, do that. But she didn't tell us that she was closing down early. Yeah, so I didn't get to do my blood test. And the same thing at the next place, which was the first time I saw the next place. I'm not going to say what kind, but I didn't like that one. I liked the nurse, did not like the doctor. And I think they keep calling me and I'm not answering. They want to change, do this, the doctor did this stuff. We're going to change all your medications. No, I'm not an employee. I'm not the employee. I am the employer. So don't speak to me like you're going to tell me what I do and I have to mind you. And that's what he did. Remember, a couple of years ago, was it 2 or 3 years ago? There was a doctor who pointed her finger in my face and said, "I'm going to tell you what to do and you will mind me." It was a woman. I was in such shock, and Adam was with me. She pointed her finger at him and said, "And you will make sure that she does." She did it twice. We were both so shocked, and she actually went outside and yelled. There's a big old waiting room full of people because there's more than one doctor there. And she yelled, "You have the worst insurance ever." I had great insurance. Seriously, great insurance. And she was just being a royal. I hope she lost her license. I'm not a vengeful person, but she should not be waiting. She should not be a doctor dealing with patients. No, I have too much for, empathy for them, myself and them. That's not good. There's no such thing anymore as poor bedside manner. What it is verbal abuse, some form of abuse, and it goes against patients' rights. And I'm seeing it, and I will not. I mean, that's what it is. It is what it is. But you can still find somebody who's going to say, "Well, he just got poor bedside manner," as if it excuses them. No, it does not excuse them. Period. End of story. Full stop on that. But anyway, it's been a trip. If it weren't for the TV, I really don't know. Actually, I do. I got a game, 2 of them. They're similar to one another. On my cell phone, I put it on there just recently, and that's been keeping me lying down. And because another weird thing that happened during all this, with all that weight gain, and I asked the doctors, is my feet turn red. Well, my feet turn red because how some people use lotions and such, and I have a feeling my body has a reaction, an allergic reaction to lotions. And I'd known it before. It had happened before, but not with this one. And another one was by a podiatrist for my feet. So you would think the podiatrist would know what I could take. But anyway, my feet turn red, bright red. And they have like little bumps on underneath the skin. Nothing really visible on the outside on my legs. I don't know. I considered going to the ER and asking them, because I can see myself going to my family doctor. She used to say, "Go to this special, this, and I have to go to this and that." And I had a return of last year, which was horrible. By the time, you actually get to see somebody, you don't need to be seeing anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm hearing that noise. It's my laundry. There's another thing. You know, what I was going to talk about was when you can't do things that you're so used to doing. And, you know, like I said, it might sound worse, actually, since you're not seeing a visual. But, like I say, I don't know whether I'm underplaying it or what, but it was that I couldn't do things like my laundry for a while now, because this wasn't the first time. There was something last year. And, what was it? About a year and a month or two ago. Yeah, that I had, what was it? What's it called? Heart failure. And the guy, the cardiologist said, it's just a warning right now. That's all it is a warning. He says it sounds like a big term, big words, but it's just warning you right now. And so I straightened my act out big time, and that took an adjustment. But you wouldn't believe how much sodium is in a lot of stuff. But anyway, and the red feet and everything would happen every once in a while, but it's because of the weight gain. I don't know. I don't know who to trust, who to believe anymore with these doctors when they say something like that. But little things like, you know, when I couldn't take a shower, I had to take a shower. Okay, there was no choice. I had to. But washing my hair, I did learn, and washing my feet and stuff like this, I learned it's like a long process when you can't do it as usual. It's just getting in the shower and turning on the shower. That was not how it would have to happen. But I did learn also that women my age should not, I can't vouch for this. This is what I read, and who knows. I just did a Google search, and the AI came up with this. So where they got it from, I don't know. But it was women my age should wash their hair once or twice a week. I was washing it every other day, and that was for a few, I don't know. When I was in my mid-40s, a dermatologist, his PA was my age, and he said, don't shower every day and don't wash your hair every day, because that's what I was doing, basically, was showering, and not washing it every day, but every other day at least. And then that's what I moved to, was to shower every other day, and every other day I wash my hair. Well, that's a no-no at this age. It's from what I understand. And it makes more sense because that's not my area. I don't know. I can't speak of it as a voice of authority at all. But it does make sense to me. And since I have been not washing my hair, but every 4 days, 3 to 4 days, I wash my hair. And it's tough. Adam had to help me one time. Luckily, that's when I was on the mend. And then by the next time I could do it myself. But yeah, what a trip, man. When you're used to doing things by yourself and you have to have somebody help. I was even thinking that I would go to a parlor, a salon, and have them do it, wash it once a week. You know, it's $10 at some places. And one guy was real smart aleck to me. He said, but you have to make sure we have 3 on staff. And I said, how would I know that? I said, I'm sure I can call. But his attitude was so smart aleck. You have to do this. I don't work for you people. I'm getting tired of the attitude of, you got to do a job. You know, you have a job to do when you're the customer, when you're the patient. No, I am the employer. I'm not the employee. And I'm getting stern on that with my attitude. of kind of laughing at stuff. Yeah, I'm getting real stern. But really, patients are not employees. We don't mind you. The nerve, the actual nerve. You might be not actual, but you get it. Okay, that's enough.